Hi guys! I hope that you all had a really great break, and let's dive right into it. Here is our lesson for what is the unit circle. So the unit circle is a circle that is on a coordinate plane, and it's commonly used to help us evaluate trig functions, sort of related to the coordinate plane here. So there are a few facts about the unit circle. One big one is that it has a radius of 1. So we can see here, this is a radius of 1, which means that this value is 1, this value is 1, and this value sort of all the way around. Anywhere that we draw a radius, we will get a value of 1. So the radius is 1. It also, we can create the equation of the unit circle. It's x squared plus y squared is equal to 1. So there is the equation of our unit circle. So there are some popular angles that are located on the unit circle, and you'll see that this sort of table here is part of your homework for this week. So looking here, we're sort of tying in the work that we've done with radians and degrees. We're tying in the work that we've done with special right triangles, and in your next lesson we'll throw in the right triangle trig work there, and we're also sort of tying in the angles work, sort of reference angles and coterminal angles, and all of that work that we did before break. The unit circle is sort of a nice culminating piece for that. So looking here at 0 degrees, so let me make my line a little bit thicker here. Here would be my angle of 0 degrees. I know that that's also 0 radians, and my x-coordinate here is 1, so here's where it lies on the unit circle. So when we're talking about these coordinates here in these two columns, we're talking about where it lies on the unit circle. So my x-coordinate is 1, and my y-coordinate is 0. So when we're talking about these coordinates, we can easily find them sort of using our knowledge about special right triangles. So let's take a look here. Let's go ahead and work with this 45. Let's go ahead and work with this line right here. So 45 degrees. So if here is my starting point for my angle, and if I were to go ahead and make a 45 degree angle on my unit circle, I can stick a point right here, and I'm going to end up with an x-coordinate and with a y-coordinate. So knowing what I know about special right triangles here, and I know that my radius here is 1, if I think about what that triangle would look like here, if I were to drop this down and create an actual 90-degree angle, I can see that this represents my x distance and this represents my y distance. And knowing what I know about right triangle trig, I can come in here and say that I know that this side length right here is the square root of 2 over 2, and this side length right here is the square root of 2 over 2, knowing that this has a radius of 1. So taking a look over here, my x-coordinate, I go over of this point right here. I would go over square root of 2 over 2 and up square root of 2 over 2. So coming over here, root 2, here let's go ahead and make this a little thinner. We'll come back and highlight this, and we'll make my line a little thinner. So my x-coordinate, square root of 2 over 2, and my y-coordinate is also square root of 2 over 2. So there's my 45 degree angle. I can then erase this, and remember, if this is going too quick, you have the ability to pause and rewind and do all of that good stuff. So now let's take a look maybe here at this pi over 3. Knowing what I know about pi over 3, I know that that is also a 60 degree angle. So remember, pi over 3 radians, I can multiply that by 180 degrees over pi, and that will end up giving me, my pi's will cancel, 180 degrees over 3, which gives me 60 degrees. So remember our sort of conversion rate here as you go ahead and fill in. We won't fill in this whole table right now together, but as you go ahead and fill this in as part of your homework assignment. So let's go ahead and take a look here. If I were to say here is my starting piece, here is my roughly 60-degree angle, I can drop this vertical down and I can take a look at what I think that this coordinate point would be. So again, this is the measure of my x distance, this is the measure of my y distance here. Knowing that this has a radius of 1, if this is 60 degrees, my special right triangles tells me that the x-coordinate is 1/2 and that my y-coordinate is the square root of 3/2. So here I have 1/2 comma square root of 3/2. So I have 1/2 and the square root of 3/2. Let's take a look at something like 135 degrees. So let's take a look here. And I'll erase. And remember, you have the ability to rewind and whatnot. So 135 degrees, I know, is going to be here. And it will be somewhere over here. So this measure right here is 135 degrees. Well, if that's 135 degrees, in order to get to this piece right here, I know that this makes a 45-degree angle. So I can take a look at this triangle right here. So we'll come and highlight this. I can take a look at this triangle right here, and I'll end up getting an x and a y coordinate. So knowing that this is 45 degrees, I know that the side of this triangle marks negative square root of 2/2, noticing that it's negative because I'm going to the left of my origin. And square root of 2/2 is this side length right here, making this coordinate negative square root of 2/2 and square root of 2/2. So negative square root of 2/2 and square root of 2/2. Let's go ahead and do one more together. And then you will hopefully be on sort of a right path to finish these for homework on your own. Let's take a look at 240 degrees. Let's come down here. 240 degrees is going to put me here. So here's my starting value, and 240 degrees would be somewhere. This is 240 degrees. Well, if this is 240 degrees, I know that I can take a look and make a 60-degree angle here, and here is another one of these nice triangles. So I can take a look and figure out what this coordinate point would be. I'd be going over 1/2, so negative 1/2, and down negative square root of 3/2. Again, knowing that my radius is 1, so the hypotenuse of that special right triangle is 1. So over here, I'm at negative 1/2 and negative square root of 3/2 at 240 degrees. So when you go ahead and you finish sort of filling in this table for the popular coordinates, you can come in here and you can complete what we would call the unit circle. And this is what the unit circle would really look like here. So we went ahead and we filled in my 60 degrees, which is right here. And I know that 60 degrees is pi over 3 radians. And if I come up here and take a look, my x-coordinate was 1/2. So if I sort of drop this down here, knowing that this is 60 degrees, I had an x-coordinate of 1/2 and a y-coordinate of the square root of 3/2. And we can go ahead and erase this so we can keep moving. This was pi over 6 radians, not degrees, pi over 6 radians. And taking a look here, if I were to make this triangle, this would be the square root of 3 over 2 and 1/2 would be my coordinates there. Looking over here, 90 degrees is pi over 2. And I know that this point right here is over 0 and up 1. This is 0 radians, 0 degrees. And I know that this coordinate point right here is over 1 and up 0. I can keep moving over here and knowing that this all the way over here, that would mark my angle of 150 degrees. So that makes this 30 degrees right here. And this is going to go ahead and measure to be 150 degrees if I were to measure starting at the start side of my angle. Here I would get a value of negative square root of 3 over 2 and 1/2 as my coordinate point. This over here is my measure of pi, and I know that I'm at -1, 0. So what I'd like you to do is, you'll see that this is attached. So if you didn't get a chance to print out the slides, there is a sheet that says trig speed at the top of it that's attached for your homework. I'd love for you to go through and sort of finish filling out some of these values. So we'll do one more over here. If this right here is 30 degrees, this all the way around is going to give me 330 degrees. And I can take this point, drop down and make my right triangle here. So here is this great right triangle. So I have the square root of 3 over 2. And if this whole thing all the way around is 330, and this right here, this piece right here is 30, that makes this guy in here 60 degrees. So this is 1/2. Going down though, so -1/2. So -1/2. And the square root of 3 over 2. So I'd love for you to go ahead and keep working on this, keep filling this out. And Tuesday, Thursday in class this week, please come with questions and we'll be sure to fill out one of these together if you are having a hard time. So good luck, guys.